Hello everyone, welcome to Radiology Cases tutorial. Today we are going to discuss an interesting topic, that is the sonographic features of early failed pregnancy. First of all, we are going to discuss our diagnostic findings of early failed pregnancy, that is based on the crown rump length. Now this is the transvaginal image of intrauterine pregnancy, and it shows the embryo with the CRL measurement of about 0.725 centimeter or 7.25 mm, and there is no cardiac activity on M mode, and here we can see the parallel lines shows no cardiac activity. And a non-viable pregnancy can be diagnosed when the cardiac activity is not identified at the CRL of 7 mm or larger. And here this embryo measures about 7.25 mm but shows no cardiac activity. Now we are going to discuss another diagnostic findings, that is based on the mean gestational sac. And here we can see longitudinal, and this one is the axial images of intrauterine gestational sac, that is showing a structure with the echogenic rim, and this structure is called a yolk sac, but no embryo or the cardiac activity is seen here. The embryo is always present adjacent to the yolk sac, and the measurement of the sac diameter is about 4.4 into 2.7 into 1.9 centimeter, that is calculated of 30.1 mm. The findings are diagnostic of non-viable pregnancy, that is based on the failure to identify an embryo with the cardiac activity at a mean sac diameter of greater than 25 mm. Now we are going to discuss another diagnostic findings of non-viable pregnancy, that is based on the follow-up sonography. Here we can see a transvaginal image of intrauterine pregnancy on the initial scan, and this one is the follow-up scan after 12 days, and it shows a structure within the gestational sac that is rounded with echogenic rim, that is a yolk sac. And here we can see that no embryo was visualized after the follow-up scan of 12 days, and the failure to identify an embryo with the cardiac activity at an interval of 11 days or the more following the visualization of gestational sac and the yolk sac, or 2 weeks or more after the visualization of gestational sac but no yolk sac, is considered diagnostic of a non-viable pregnancy. Now we are going to discuss some ultrasound findings that are not diagnostic but concerning features of failed pregnancy. Now this is a transvaginal image that shows the intrauterine embryo with the crown rump length measurement of about 0.42 centimeter, and no cardiac activity was identified here, and the visualization of the embryo of any size without cardiac activity is a feature of concern because the cardiac activity is usually seen almost as soon as the embryo is visualized. Now this is a transvaginal image of intrauterine gestational sac that shows the amnion, but it shows no yolk sac or the embryo. This is a feature of concern because the yolk sac is the first structure that is identified in the gestational sac of a normally developing pregnancy. Another concerning ultrasound findings of a non-viable pregnancy is the large yolk sac. Now this is a transvaginal image that shows intrauterine gestational sac with a large yolk sac. The yolk sac measurement is about 0.8 into 0.85 centimeter, and a yolk sac measurement of about 7 mm or larger is considered a feature of concern. The normal yolk sac usually measures less than the 6 mm in diameter, and when it is greater than the 6 mm, then it is a concerning feature of non-viable pregnancy. Now here we can see a first trimester oligohydramnios and the transvaginal image of intrauterine gestational sac. It shows the disproportionality small gestational size relative to the size of the embryo. The mean gestational sac diameter minus the CRL should be greater than 5 mm, but in this example the embryo is nearly completely filling the gestational sac. This is also the concerning feature of non-viable pregnancy. The characteristic of the gestational sac that raise the concern for the abnormal pregnancy include the distorted contour, thin, irregular or weakly hyperechoic peripheral rim, low gestational sac position, abnormally large amniotic sac as compared with the embryo size, abnormal appearance of the yolk sac and the chorionic bump. These are the concerning features of non-viable pregnancy. Now here we can see a transvaginal image that shows the irregular distorted contour of the gestational sac that raise the concern for the non-viable pregnancy. And this is the transvaginal image of the gestational sac, which shows the larger than expected amniotic cavity relative to the size of the embryo, and the amniotic sac diameter and the CRL are usually similar to each other at this stage of pregnancy. Now this is a transvaginal image of a color Doppler of intrauterine gestational sac. It shows a convex protrusion of solid appearing tissues into the gestational sac that is termed as a chorionic bump. The color Doppler does not show the flow in the chorionic bump, and it has been postulated to be due to hematoma. Now this is a transvaginal sonogram that shows intrauterine gestational sac with highly echogenic yolk sac with the posterior shadowing, and it is consistent with the calcification. The abnormal yolk sac configurations such as calcifications or atypical shape are associated with increased likelihood of pregnancy failure. Now this is a transvaginal image of the gestational sac which shows two rounded side by side structures, one of which is likely an amnion and the other is a yolk sac. This configuration is infrequently visualized, but when seen is associated with increased incidence of pregnancy failure. Now this is a transabdominal image of the gravid uterus, and it shows the gestational sac that is located inferior to the portion of the uterine body. A low-lying gestational sac is associated with an increased likelihood of pregnancy loss, cervical ectopic pregnancy, or can be attributed to a fibroid that is displacing the gestational sac inferiorly. And the transient visualization of low-lying gestational sac can be secondary to a uterine contraction. This is a transvaginal image of early intrauterine pregnancy that shows typical appearing perigestational hematoma that measures 2.8 into 1.2 centimeter, and it contains the internal echoes and is located adjacent to the gestational sac. Now this is the axial image of the uterus. It shows two intrauterine gestational sacs with thick dividing membrane that is consistent with the dichorionic diamniotic twining, and here you can see a lambda sign that shows the dichorionic diamniotic twin pregnancy, and it can be difficult to distinguish between the twin pregnancy and a gestational sac with adjacent perigestational hematoma. Now this is a transvaginal image of the gestational sac at 8 weeks gestation. It shows the embryo in the amniotic cavity. The amniotic cavity is anechoic and is separated from the chorionic cavity, and this is the chorionic cavity by the amnion. The yolk sac is outside the amnion in the chorionic cavity. The chorionic cavity can exhibit the internal echoes and can be more echogenic than the amniotic cavity. The normal chorionic cavity should not be mistaken for the perigestational hematoma, which would be located peripheral to the gestational sac with the thick dividing septa but not within it. Now this is a sonogram that shows a transabdominal image of the uterus in a patient with the positive pregnancy test, and it shows the multiple fibroids as well as a small fluid filled containing lesion with irregular internal echoes, and it was concerned for the interstitial ectopic pregnancy, and no other gestational sac candidate was visualized here.